Okay, how we doing today? Making a quick video. Well, it might not be a quick video, I don't know. Kind of have a lot to say, answering a lot of questions. Here's the whole thing with Ron Paul. First off, I want to make it clear. I'm doing a response for Tmot, but I'm also really making these videos for my boys so that they really understand what's going on with Ron Paul. Basically, a lot has gone on with the Republicans from the last 5, 10, 20 years, however you want to say it. Their party has changed dramatically. And the Democrats have also changed. I don't know if they're chasing the Republicans or what they're doing, but they've gone far right, they've gone far left, and everything is what it wasn't 2, 5, 10 years ago, however you want to look at it. So basically, the Democrats or the Republicans pretty much aren't doing it. And I'll give you an example. Like, let's look at the whole debt ceiling debate, okay? The Republicans went way over here. We want X, Y, Z. We want this, we want that, or you're not going to get a penny. And then the Democrats came to, like, meet them, like, where they halfway, but the Democrats didn't. They didn't negotiate it good enough. And then they gave them a whole bunch of stuff they shouldn't have. And it was like, is that what Obama really wanted, or what's going on? And it's like, Bernanke, other people for this over the Federal Reserve, they're keeping them. It's a lot of stuff. He's bailing out banks. And that's really, the Democrats really haven't ever done that before. And the Republicans are becoming like just warmongers, but then the Democrats are too, because Obama has really killed more people and done more drone killings than Bush in 3 years than Bush did in 8 years. So yeah, our budget, and I really wouldn't care about that and some of the stuff we needed to do, but it's like during a recession when your country's hurting, why are you still at war? Why are we still in Afghanistan? And a Democrat would usually bring our troops home. We still have troops in Vietnam. We still have troops in Germany. Like, why if we have this big deficit, why wouldn't they try to balance the budget on the defense budget? And it automatically goes up every so many years. Every year, the defense budget gets greater and greater and greater, which means we're spending more money, but we're not making any money, so we're getting further in the hole. And another way we can make money would be taxing these billionaires, like Warren Buffett saying, hey, I'm paying less in taxes than my secretary. We can be out of this hole if everybody paid their fair share. But then the Republicans are like, no, we should take the money from the poor people. Planned Parenthood being an example. And them using, well, they do over 1,000 services, vaccinations, HIV testing, and they do adoption, and they do help parents find homes for their children, and they do a lot of stuff, and then as a last resort, they also do abortions. So they're like, well, no, they do abortions, so we're cutting that out the community. We're saving money, but usually those are in black communities. So they're trying to balance the budget on the poor folk. Well, we have little resources anyway. And it's like, why not take like Bill Maher says, why not take a huge chunk of this defense budget and cut that? But it's like Obama and all his budgets, it's like the defense is going up. He's really not going to cut it. And then you got Ron Paul to come in, and he'll cut the $1 trillion in 1 year. And he's the only person to say, this is how I'll do it. And Mitt Romney, and I'm not saying vote for Mitt Romney or nobody, but Mitt Romney will be like, yeah, we're going to cut the budget, we're going to do this, but he doesn't give examples how. And it's like they're playing politics, and they're trying to appease certain people. Even with Obamacare, a lot of people won't say that wasn't appeasement. He's pandering to people, giving them what he thinks they want to hear. Because it's like, let me give you an example. when you're in a deficit or in a hole or recession, whatever, yeah, we want free health care, but it's like if he was like, I'm going to give every American a free car, of course we'll want that and we'll like it, but really the country can't afford to do that. So it's like, look, balance the budget. That's what I want to hear about. Let's get out of this. Let's get the economy stimulated so we could start making this money back and I can pay for my own health care. I don't need to, and I mean, yeah, of course I'll take free health care. But it's like, I don't need free health care. I need my money so I can get my own health care and not have to worry about the government or whatever. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's bad timing. And he's trying to take our attention off of what's really important. And him sending more troops and doing this and that. And it's like, come on, man. Like, yeah, I don't know. Obama did do a lot of good things, but it's like, come on, it's certain things that he even ran on. Even on stopping, like the whole the war on drugs. Like, it's not winning. He said, as soon as I get in, and he's like, yeah, and I smoked before in my life too, but as soon as he got in and they asked him about it, he basically laughed them out, like, ha, ha, ha. Next question. And I was like, no, seriously, this is something you said you were going to do. Closing Guantanamo Bay, this is something you said you were going to do, and it's like those are things he can do by just signing a piece of paper. Not the drugs, but Guantanamo Bay, that's something he can do. And that would help out a lot of African Americans because most nonviolent crimes, it's like so biased. Like jails are like 60, 50, 60, 70% African American, and it's like, it's just the same like prohibition back in the day. Just make it legal. And you're taking a lot of money away from these gangs or from these mafias. But it's like, I don't know. He feels like, hey, if I can get away with it, why would I do that? So we have to start holding these politicians accountable, saying, look, we see through this whole smoke and mirrors trick. This is what we really want. If you don't give it to us, we're going to start voting for guys like Ron Paul. And like Tmot said, it's not, don't worry so much on the messenger, it's the message he's saying. Even if like something came out with Ron Paul, even if he was racist and said, nigga, 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 it's still bigger than race at this point. You know what I'm saying? Obama, you know, we wanted to get the first black president in, cool. But at this point, it's not about race anymore. It's bigger than that. It's about my grandchildren. It's about whatever. Getting the country back on track. And nobody is really giving a way to do that. Ron Paul is the only one. And the other thing is Paul Ryan. So a lot of my friends weren't realizing this, but Paul Ryan is not Ron Paul. So you understand, those are two different people. Paul Ryan is the vice president for Mitt Romney, and I'm not endorsing him, so you understand, because a couple of people asked me that. I know a lot of people here know a lot about Ron Paul, a lot about politics, but a lot of the people in our community don't, and I'm going to be sending this video to people. So he's basically an independent, or he's somebody outside of the political system, and he gives these ideas and ways to do it. And at first I didn't agree. Videos I did before I was there, you know what, certain stuff the government has to do, like education, healthcare, certain stuff. But then if you look at it, and he made some good points where it's like they're going to automatically raise the cost of education every year by up to 30% some point. So let's do the math. If your school or anything, if they're getting free money, they're going to use that free money. So the cost of books, the cost of education is going to continue to go up, 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 up. But if there was no government, wasn't involved in that, then there will be competition. So then the competition, the prices will go down. So, I mean, that makes sense. To me, that sounds right. And, I mean, I want my free education. I want my free health care. But it's like the Pell Grant is hurting me more than it's helping me. then do you really want it? It's like sometimes you have to, you have to not just think about yourself and the good of the country. But then people will say do that and cuts this, we'll cut that. But it's like, well, what are you cutting? You're a billionaire. Oh, we're not going to cut anything. No. Everybody has to sacrifice all around the border. And that's why I said the war, all of this stuff, man, they need to, the Federal Reserve needs to end. It's just an old, outdated system. We need a new tax system. And this is all stuff that Ron Paul is talking about, and that these other politicians won't touch with a million-foot pole. So it's like, yeah, I'm sorry. It's like, which do you want to vote for, Hitler, or do you want to vote for Osama bin Laden? Now, those are your two choices. No, I'm not going to play that game anymore. It's like, look, this is what I want. So I'm going to write Ron Paul's name in about if he's running or not, or whatever. He's not even running, but if they see that enough people want this person, want true change, then they're going to change. That's all it is to it. That's all you have to know. At this point, I'm not going to, and I live in Illinois anyway, so the electoral colleges are going to get a state to Obama, since he was the senator, and he probably appointed them anyway when he was. So Illinois is going to go to Obama anyway, so I'm going to use my vote to actually incite change by doing that to Ron Paul, and I suggest you do the same thing. And a lot of people, they say, well, he's never going to win, or it's not about winning. It's about 4 years ago, I didn't know who Ron Paul was. 4 years from now, not only do I do, but I'm going to be telling other people about him, spreading the word so that more people will, become conscious and affect real change. So it's a lot of stuff that these politicians are doing and lying. And they're like, yeah, Obama, Paul Ryan was saying, Obama, he let our credit rating go down. But the Republicans were the ones that forced that to happen. So it's like, you guys are playing politics. You guys you're not really the best thing for the country right now. So I'm not going to vote for you. I'm not going to play this game anymore. We don't have time for this. So if you want to get the country back on, and look, here's the other thing too. He will do some cuts. Because when your house is on foreclosure, what do you need to do? You need to cut back. And it's some stuff you did before you can't do. You can't go out all the time. You can't, you might not be able to buy that new Dolce & Gabbana or that new car. You have to make cuts. People don't want cuts, but we have to make fair, hard cuts across the border. You got to take a step back and go a step further. No politicians want to ever say, I'm going to cut this or cut that. It's unpopular, but we have to do that. You can't, get fired from your job and keep spending like you did before. And we're not making money. We basically got fired. So he can't lie and say, well, everything's going to stay the same and we'll just be okay. And we'll get more jobs and we won't cut anything. And no, taxes might have to get raised. Cuts might have to happen. And the other thing is, so you understand what entitlement is the government shouldn't give you money for school. The government should, if they do, great, but you shouldn't expect that. Like Tmot was saying, you should go out and you should pay for your own school, or you should get your own loan. Like me personally, I've served in the military. I know my parents didn't have the money to do it, but I served. So in turn, since I served in the military, I'm getting a GI Bill. So I got my education paid for. But just because I was born, somebody shouldn't pay for that. My government shouldn't pay for that. Just because I'm born and I don't have they shouldn't pay for my food. And I have been on food stamps before. I have used grants, Pell Grants, to go to school. But the thing is, that's not required. I shouldn't be looking for that my only means. And that's what an entitlement is. You believe this is my God-given right to have this. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be any food stamps or you shouldn't help people at all. They should, but you shouldn't allow people to be on there for more than 2 or 3, 5 years. So a lot of these programs we do need to cut back, but it needs to be fair. And a lot of African Americans are on those programs, so I understand that. But then at the same time, you're showing them that it's okay. Then you have generation of generation and generation of people living their life like that. So, you know, and like I said, I would love to get a free education and go back and get a master's. But at the same time, I know my country can't afford to pay for it. It's like if you had a girlfriend and you just got foreclosed on. It's like, but I just bought you a diamond ring. If she really loves you, she would say, you know what, we can't afford that right now. So I don't need that. But thank you anyway, I see you care. That's what we need to do. We need to say you can't afford this now, so we need to cut back. But at the same time, be fair. Don't just cut it out the black community. Cut it everywhere. The billionaires need to start paying their fair share. These corporations, everywhere. And that's what I like about Ron Paul. He's the least amount of racist person, period. So, there you go. That's my 2 cents. You guys take it easy.